Peace, y'all. All right, let me fix something because I hate looking at myself backwards. When I see it, it throws me off. Let me see. Give me a second. All right. So I see me the same way y'all see me. All right, let me see what's going on with YouTube. Come on, YouTube. All right, we good. We good on YouTube. All right, let me send out. Let me send out Twitter that we're live. Let me let Twitter know we're live. I didn't do a script again today. Give me a second. Oh, I know what got my computer going slow. I'm downloading a script. In the background, I'm downloading something. Been trying to do it for the last 2 days, but I got so much information that I'm trying. I didn't realize that was a lot of information that is trying to restructure. Yo, and I'm moving. Y'all think Poe ain't doing nothing. I'm trying to get these guys on the show. Sonny Edwards. I'm trying to get people on the show. Y'all think I'm not. I'm really trying to. I'm not like y'all say faking. I'm not faking. This is like when I was trying to explain to somebody in the always got at the discussion. This is the Mayweather discussion. When people say, "Oh, Mayweather be outpricing himself. Mayweather want this and Mayweather want this," y'all don't know the whole story. Y'all guessing. Y'all guessing. Salute Legendary Boxing 2026. Salute Boxing Lounge. What's up, Aram? Salute. Yeah, people guessing about about Floyd Mayweather not being in the game. It might have changed today, but at that time when Floyd wanted to be in the, I mean, when they wanted, because Floyd was actually going to be in the game. He was signed to be in Fight Night Round. What was it? Fight Night Round. That what I keep saying. Round 4. Fight Night Round 4. He was in that. He was supposed to be in that one. But they what's up, Box Eye View? What's up, Norks Reacts? Yeah, Floyd was supposed to be in Fight Night Round 4. But when Floyd found out, I gotta correct this because everybody always make up their own narratives, their own conclusions and everything. Y'all guessing. I know for a fact. I talked to Brian Hayes. We were in, it was me, and I think it was probably 8 more content creators. We weren't called content creators back then, but it was 8 more of us in the studio, the EA studio in Canada. We was there, and they was talking about how they messed up. For one, they let Floyd know that Pacquiao was getting more money than he was because they love Pacquiao. EA had a lot of people that was Philippine in the studio, but I'm not saying that's one of the reasons why they love Pacquiao, but they loved Pacquiao back then. And then what happened was when Floyd found out that they was overpaying, they was giving Pacquiao way more because Floyd was the money person back then. He was like, everything was Floyd. Floyd was winning the titles and everything. Everything was about Floyd, but you underselling him. You undervalued him. It was Pacquiao was getting more money than him, and I think like 3 other boxers was getting more than him. So it really didn't have nothing to do with Pacquiao. It was boxers that were not as valuable or popular as he was that were getting more than him. Because EA, they knew he was popular to a lot of people, but to them, they liked the Pacquiao more. And they paid Pacquiao the way they liked Pacquiao. And that's the reason why Floyd said, oh, so y'all want to play like that? Now y'all got to play me double or triple. That's how Floyd did it. Because they were disrespectful to him. And EA kept trying to go back, but they was lowballing him. They weren't going to never let the number go above what Pacquiao got. Not too high or, they would lowballing Floyd. That's why Floyd is not in the game. Not the way people are assuming. People keep assuming things. No, that persona was not really there at that time. That persona was not there. And Floyd even said it. He even did a video. I don't know where that video went at, but Floyd did a video and said why he said, hey, y'all give me this now since y'all want to pay Pacquiao more than me. It was a beef going on. People can't keep coming up with their own narratives. Y'all got to stop that. All right, let me see. Let me put together a script real quick. Give me a second while I'm talking to y'all. Yes, so Muhammad Ali's grandson, I don't know if he represented himself that argument well, but I hope. See, a lot of people got their own feelings about it, but there's like they want to hear what they want to hear. And one person that I gotta respect, because I used to stay on Showbiz the Adult heavy. Because I was like, he's turning into a casual leaning person. But I gotta respect him. He stood on business and said he support the Muhammad Ali Act, and he literally started seeing things because he was starting that league idea that he was like swaying towards that casual fan base type stuff, that support of everything that would make a MMA fan. My thing is MMA, let MMA be MMA and let boxing be boxing. Stop trying to change boxing into what MMA is. They're two different things. They're two different things. They're trying to make boxing into leagues. We didn't never have leagues in boxing. That's the arcade aspect. When I hear leagues, I think of arcade stuff. When I hear leagues, I think of arcade thinking. Let me see. I heard we supposed to be getting some undisputed news next week. That's what I heard from the grapevine. I think it's gonna be a little bit of nothing. I don't even think we're gonna get a undisputed 2 announcement next week. I'll be shocked if we do. Especially the way Undisputed moving. I hope my thing, what would get me super excited, and I know y'all be like, you really would get excited off of that? Yes. What would get me super excited is if they say, you know what? We've been listening to somebody, because they ain't gonna say my name for some reason. I'm like Joker that you say his name 3 times, Candyman. If they say my name, something gonna happen. So they're not gonna even mention it. But like if they say, hey, you know what? We're gonna put out a third-party survey and we want y'all to take it so we can make sure that we include y'all in what's going on. Boom. And it gotta be, my thing is the survey part is not the only thing about it. Because they can say a third-party survey and hide the results and tell us this is what it says, and that's not what it says. We want public viewing. All right, let me get back, because I had to throw my third-party survey in there some type of way. Because I'm going to do my announcement at some point in this show. All right. All right, let me see. Yeah, I got a conversation I want to talk. Let me see. Last time Floyd Mayweather Jr. was featured was Fight Night Round 2, 2005. Yeah. All right. Realism versus expectations, where fans and developers clash. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. This is episode 220, and today we're addressing something that keeps coming up in every discussion around boxing games. What does realistic actually mean? And who gets to define it? Because right now, there's a clear disconnect. Fans think one thing, and developers sometimes communicate another. And somewhere in the middle, expectations get distorted. So today, we're going to break this down properly. Assumptions, no vague statements, just clear definitions, real context, and where this confusion actually starts. The problem with the word realism. Let's get straight to it. Realism has become one of the most misused words in gaming, especially in sports games. When people hear realistic boxing game, they assume true to life movement, authentic pacing and rhythm, accurate behaviors and decision making, real consequences for mistakes. that's the expectation. But here's the issue. Realism is not a standardized term in game development. Before I read this, did y'all hear what I just read? Realism is not a standardized term in game development. So that means companies can be deceptive without any backlash or anything to come back on them. All right, let me continue. Here is the issue. Realism is not a standardized term in game development. There is no universal benchmark. See, there is no universal benchmark. So they cannot be held accountable for using that word. And that's sad. That's sad. That's sad. I'm pretty sure that they can be held accountable for using the word and they're not doing what they're saying. Because realism is realism. That word is what it is. It is. And my thing, like when I say I talk to Ash and Ash say certain things, even said it in the video. I got the video. Ash said it hyper. He literally, when he put the hyper to it, he said hyper realistic. So that means don't get it confused me saying realistic. He said hyper realistic. That's emphasis on it. All right. There is no universal benchmark, no governing definition. Yes, it is. No checklist that says if you hit these 10 things, your game is officially realistic. So what happens? Developers use realism to describe intent. Players hear realism and expect simulation level accuracy. That gap right there, that's where the tension starts. And nobody holds them accountable. Nobody holds these companies accountable. But my thing is, with Steel City, it's no excuse because when we held EA accountable for the games that they were making, they knew what realism is. They knew what fans expected. What made EA stop making NBA Live? Refused to make it realistic. They said if fans is not going to accept the hybrid, we're not making anything. Then they said, hey, we got a chance to get 2K back. They made it so that 2K could not make a football game. They made it so 2K cannot make football game. But the games that 2K had at this realism is I might have to restart my whole show. Did my stream die? Y'all let me know that the stream died. Because it kicked off and kicked back on. I don't know what's going on. Y'all let me know that the stream am I still am I good? Let me know, y'all, before I go on. I don't want to waste my breath. Oh, okay, thanks. What's up, AJ? All right, thanks. Yeah, but a lot of these companies, and it's funny that AJ popped in. It's these companies doing very sneaky practices. They're doing very sneaky practices because they're using the word realism and they're not giving you realism. And then they can say, then it's saying that they can use realism, even though what they're putting out is real. They could say, hey, it's going to be realistic, assimilation and everything, and you're not getting that. But the thing with 2K, even though a lot of people complain about 2K, it looks, and we say, did 2K look like the older 2Ks? No, it progressed greatly. You know, a lot of games, they keep talking about games haven't really progressed that much. They have. They have. The main thing with people, and they do it out of spite, is because of the microtransactions. Once the microtransaction overshadows everything, and they say, "Oh, that's bad, bad." But what's bad about it? The microtransaction. You're not. I'm talking about gameplay. Stop changing. You know, that's what I be getting into. Like, what does that got to do with the gameplay? Or if it's better than it was 15, 20 years ago? That's the point that I be trying to make. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat before I move on. All right, realism versus simulation. Now let's separate two things that people constantly blend together. Realism versus simulation. Realism is about perception. Does it look right? Does it feel believable? Simulation is about system accuracy. Does it behave like real world boxing under the hood? And that's why I always say realistic sim. If y'all notice what I say, because I take out them trying to frame it. I always put that slash, realistic slash sim. Because when you get to the sim aspect, it could be realistic and sim. You mean realistic sim. It's like you're really describing what the sim is. Those are not the same thing. You can have a game that looks realistic. See, that's the framing. That's the slick part about it. That's how Steel City and other companies get away with things. But like I said, a lot of these companies, they don't really do too much of that. Give us the a false light. When when 2K does what they do, it looks, like a lot of the basketball players play the way the basketball players play. They do a lot of things right, more right than wrong. All right. You can have a game that look realistic, but it isn't simulating real boxing behavior at all. You can also have a system heavy simulation that feels stiff or unnatural to play. The best sports games sit somewhere in between. That's why I say realistic sim. Not a hybrid. Not a hybrid. Because when we're talking about hybrid, that's when we're talking about arcade sim. Two different things. That's a total different conversation. So the best sports game sits somewhere in the middle. In the between. But when fans hear realistic, many are expecting full simulation, and they should. It ain't like, my thing is, when you try to be too precise with these developers, they're gonna always twist your words regardless of the fact. If you say simulation or realistic, they still hear the same thing. Womp, 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 womp. That's all they hear. But when fans hear realistic, many are expecting full simulation, style-specific AI, adaptive strategies, true stamina dynamics, real punch selection logic, ring IQ replication. And if that's not there, they feel misled. 100%. 100%. Me, I feel misled because Ash shouldn't have never talked to me. He shouldn't have never had that conversation with me. It was to me, it was a disservice to him. Why did you even talk to me? And I know he said to himself, now the way I be ranting and saying all these different things, why did I even contact him? Contact me or not, that wouldn't prevent me from saying what I'm saying. Let me see what's going on in the chat. What's up, Lamont Davis? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Where miscommunication happens. Now let's address the real issue, communication. If a developer says we're making the most realistic boxing game ever, that statement carries weight. That statement carries weight. You know why it carries weight? We're making the most, that part right there, the most realistic boxing game ever. That statement carries weight because to a fan, that's not marketing language. That's a claim of accuracy. And if the final product leans more towards accessibility, simplification mechanics, limited AI depth, then people are going to call that out. Not because they're being unreasonable, but because the expectations were set at a different level. This is where people start using words like misleading, overpromising. Now, not what we were told, and whether intentional or not, that perception becomes reality. Fans' expectations aren't the problem. Let's be clear about something. Fans want deeper systems. Fans want authenticity. Fans wanted true boxing representation. That is not the problem. That's a good thing. It means people care about the sport, the details, the legacy of boxing. The real issue is when expectations are inflated without clarity or misled, or dismissed instead of addressed. Because saying that's impossible in today's development landscape, that's not always accurate. A lot of what fans are asking for is technically achievable. The real question is, was it prioritized? Development reality versus design choices. Here's where we bring balance into the conversation, which I hate. Hate the word balance. Just because something can be done doesn't mean it will be done. Game development is about time, budget. These are two things I got to address right now. Game development is about time. Steel City wastes a lot of time doing nothing. Be honest. We got to be honest with ourselves. Steel City wastes a lot of time doing nothing. They do more. They waste more time marketing than developing. From my aspect of what I see. Budget, they're wasting money. Budget, they're wasting money. Team size, that's on them because they wasted money. Technical direction. Design philosophy. Their design philosophy is trash. And guess who is that? Guess who their design philosophy is headed by? Their authentic boxing mind frame. Guess who that's headed by? I'm not gonna mention no names. Just let that sink in. All right. Every feature is a decision. So when something is missing, it doesn't automatically mean it couldn't be done. It usually means it wasn't chosen to be done right now. That's why I keep telling y'all, because everybody says, yeah, they can't do it. They can't. It's impossible to do. One guy in the Facebook said, they're never going to be able to do what you want. They're never, ever. It's not possible. Because if it was possible, they would do it. He's an idiot. He's the people that we need to say, shut up, man. Don't talk for us. If you're not going to speak with knowledge or knowing what you're talking about, and my thing is like I tell people, when you challenge me, show me the proof. Don't guess. Show me the proof. I can show you that everything that I asked for can be put in a video game. Everything I asked for, everything on my wish list, everything on my blueprint can be put in a video game. Everything. I have blueprints, I have scripts, I have everything. Everything that I want or ask for can be put in a video game. And then I know you got the people, Bo, you're asking for too much, man. That's really too much. Come on, man. Shut up, man. Y'all really giving them the easy way out. Y'all really giving them the easy way out. Because in game development, they're constantly adding on. So they push the game out and then they keep, because if they're going to have a live service or live updates, they could keep adding on. It's this game called Warframe. They keep upgrading from their live service. And that's what Steel City is about to have, a live service, update service. So when y'all say it's too much, it's not too much, because they could constantly keep updating the game. That was Ash's original vision before somebody got in his head and messed it up. All right. Let me see. Every feature is a decision. So when something is missing, it doesn't automatically mean it couldn't be done. it usually means it wasn't chosen to be done right now. That's a very different conversation. And that's where most transparency will help everyone. What needs to change? Let me see what y'all saying in the chat before I go on. All right. So, how do we fix this disconnect? It comes down to two things. Clearer language from developers. Instead of saying realistic, be specific. Is it animation realism, AI realism, presentation realism? Define it. More informed expectations from fans. Ask better questions. How deep is the AI systems? How are styles differentiated? What systems drive decision making? Not just does it look real? Because realism is not just visual, it's behavioral. AI, at the end of the day, this isn't about attacking developers. It's about this. It's not about dismissing fans. It's about alignment. Because when expectation and communications match, that's when people actually appreciate what's being built. Let me see who this is. Aaron. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Yeah,
So
what you about to say? What's going to say last coming up next week?
You already know. Because you know that there's about to be some BS in the next couple of weeks, whether it's next week or 2 weeks. There's about to be some BS in the air.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? What do you expect to happen at this point? Well, what do you think they're going to even talk about?
I don't know, because Steel City, they just doing a promotion thing, so I don't know. I'd be super shocked if they say we're doing Undisputed 2. And my thing, if they do like I said, I'd be shocked because they'd be like, hey, we're gonna do a survey. I'd be like, yay!
You know that's not what they're about to say. If anything,
hey, I'm just wishful thinking.
If anything, at this point, they're probably going to be. I would think that they would be talking about Undisputed 2. Shoot,
it will make sense, but you knowing them because they got to recover money too, because they want to pay these guys, so they might sneak some more DLC out there. They might. And that'd be crazy.
I've been seeing a bunch of people, and I don't even know where these sources are coming from, but some people are saying that they've spoken with boxers about this, like that supposedly there's supposed to be some DLC that's coming out in the summer, or some type of DLC that's it's supposed to come out sometime soon, like within the before the summer is over at the least. But I don't know where those sources are coming from, because I haven't heard anything like of substantial evidence that actually shows that there's going to be any kind of DLC anytime in the future. Like everything that I've heard so far is literally they're going to just be working on Undisputed 2 at this point. Because they've been working. We both know that they've been working on it for a long time at this point. So it's not like it's any kind of news. It's just about the fact of, their full head of steam at this point going to work on Undisputed 2. That's what I would think that the interview is going to be. Because did you see the video Crooks made?
No. Because Crook be saying some stuff, and sometimes it feel like he be wishful thinking. So I stop, it's like clickbait when it comes to Crook. What was the video about?
He basically was talking about how supposedly he had seen something. I think he said it was like in some video, or it was either a video or a comment feed. Sean Porter basically saying that he had gotten contacted by Ash, and they're supposed to be doing some type of interview. I don't know when the interview is going to be exactly, but I would guess since he's going to be going to see Ash this week, I'd say that the interview could be next week.
Yeah, but I wonder what kind of interview is it going to be, a recorded or live? You know, I know it's going to be monitored.
Well, I think it's going to be BS regardless of if it's recorded or live. Because I mean, like at this point, like I don't understand what the point of even doing this interview is for, because like it's as simple as a social media post if you're doing confirmation of what Undisputed 2 is. And I feel like because the development team is in such a bad light at this point, there's nothing really that they can say that really fixes or, you know, resolves the relationship between the dev team and their community as a whole. Because I feel like there's just too many holes and there's been too many broken promises and a lot of expectations that were not met. So I feel like this whole interview with Ash and Sean Porter, like I'm super curious about what it's about, because I really don't know or like understand what they would be talking about. And if it is Undisputed 1, I mean, I guess it would be something about DLC, but I don't know if DLC is the best idea.
Me neither. I don't think at this point, this late in development, late in the game life, I don't think it's like really needed. But I think they got to sustain the game for at least another year.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they got to sustain this game for another year. Because I'm looking at the hiring practice, so it's like the way they're hiring is like they just like really starting to work on the game.
Yeah, but all those hires are for Undisputed 2, isn't it? Because it's on Unreal Engine.
Yeah, but that's not a lot of people that they have. What I seen, it was a lot of people, and it's a lot of missing pieces. So they still got some more hires to add on. They could probably bring them in at probably a couple of more months.
Yeah, because the last time I had seen anything about hires was the Codemasters from EA. Those hires I had seen, but I haven't really seen any other new hires in regards to like Unreal Engine hire experience and stuff like that. Like I haven't seen anything about a combat lead designer getting picked up. I haven't seen anything that shows that they've hired all the positions that they've been searching for so far.
Yeah, because I noticed that they got two different spots where they put job listings at. One for LinkedIn, then it's another area that they have listings at, and I forgot the other area. But in the LinkedIn, they got two job titles. Let me look it up right quick. They got two job titles that's up, and I'm shocked. It's this title look like they're still up there, and I'm wondering why. Because if you look in the looked on LinkedIn and you look up them job titles, there's a lot of people in the industry that's trying to get those jobs. And my thing is, why is Steel City hiring so many people from EA? They were not there. They were not there when Fight Night was made. If you open it, you're getting that same recipe. They were not there.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of word of mouth at this point when it comes to hires. I mean, it's clearly it's based off of some familiarity, some kind of I know this person would be perfect for this position, etc. So I mean, like realistically, when it comes to the hiring process, I don't really have much faith because I don't even have much faith when it comes to Undisputed 2 as a whole. Like, there is curiosity of how exactly they're going to be, how their comeback is going to be. And obviously, there's curiosity of if they're going to be able to ever deliver on what they said. Because my speculation would be everything that they've said ESBC was going to be is going to be what they try to implement into Undisputed 2, because they feel like, okay, well, if we're on a more powerful engine that can more optimize what we're trying to put into the game, maybe it's going to be easier for the online and offline portions of the game, and we won't have that many problems when it comes to the aspect of like our arenas are not optimized properly. Our game development is better when it comes to like the because there's certain things that you can do in the game that's gonna allow the game to run smoother and run better. Like, lessening the crowd density and stuff like that. But the problem is the fact that you have to do that. Like, you can't actually enjoy the aspects of the game the way it was intended when it comes to like the aesthetic of the game. And it's because it's just like we had talked about last week, it's poorly optimized. So when it comes to their hiring positions, I have little to no faith when it comes to who they end up picking up, even if it's not somebody from EA. I have no faith.
Yeah, yeah. And the person is experienced AI programmer for Unreal Engine and a senior animation programmer. These are two people they're trying to hire. And I know when I'm not getting excited because like when I see the AI programmer, you think about, hey, that's offline stuff. No, you need that for online stuff too. People don't realize that you need an AI programmer. The offline got to play well for the online to function right. People don't understand that.
Yeah,
Even
but
if
that's go ahead.
even if somebody built a game and it was only online, it was technically built offline first.
Mm-hmm.
It was like literally an offline game, but it's an offline game that they put online. And so that AI, the person has to use AI. They got to get an AI programmer to make them systems, be a part of building them systems.
Yeah,
So what you was about to say?
I just wonder how because you said that you had only seen those two positions. You didn't see them looking for a combat lead designer, because if you don't see it up there, they might have actually hired somebody.
I never saw that. That was something I was asking them that they need to get. That was something. I don't know if you saw me post that and you put that in your mind, because I never seen them put that up there.
I could have sworn I had seen that they were searching for somebody that was a combat lead designer, and it was with Unreal Engine experience. I mean, you could have said something, and I might have not seen it, but I could have sworn I had seen it multiple times, honestly. When it comes to job listings.
That's crazy for them to even do that, because I kept saying, I said, why don't they hire? Because everybody said they don't need to hire a combat guy. All they need to I forget the job that they said they don't need a combat. Yes, they do. I've been saying that from Undisputed 1 that they should have hired one. I actually was trying to get this guy. He's a well-known combat guy, and he was willing to be a part of the team as early on, and then he pulled away from it because he do combat in like Marvel games and stuff like that. So yeah, because I was like Marvel, and I was saying to me, I got to give him the third degree. I said, how's that going to translate into a boxing game? He says combat. He said we extreme. I mean, we pay attention to detail. And he said, we got to pay attention to detail. And I said, oh, all right. He said, because he said he could get it right if he would have been a part of the team.
Did you see that on UFC 6? They're starting to basically do things that we had asked for with Undisputed, with all the, now they're doing like a bunch of mocapped animation supposedly.
Yeah, that's an EA thing. They listen to what's going on around them. Like what I was saying, if y'all look at my wish list and look at what what's that? The last 3 UFCs got, you'll say that look like some of the stuff Poe got on that wish list. They took that wish list and they said, hey, we ain't making a boxing game, we might as well use it for something. I was like, yo, at least give me credit.
I had only seen it because Leafy had posted it on Twitter, and I had seen that they had basically been doing more, I guess, animation based like striking and stuff like that, because they had people doing like the mocap, and then they had also said something about now instead of they're like doing like some physics based, I think they said physics based striking now they're implementing into the game. I'm not really familiar with that term, so I don't really know fully the details of it, but I heard that they were doing physics based striking now. And it looks, I wonder if the way that they implement the striking into their game, if Undisputed devs are going to pay attention to that and see how it works, and they're going to try to implement that feature into their game.
More than likely, the way that Will Kinsler and the Jokers from EA, it's like they tried to copy everything. I mean, not make it obvious, but do some of the things that was in Fight Night Champion. I was like, hey, that looks similar to Fight Night Champion. I was like, that ain't what we had at the beginning. It's starting to, like, creep into that Fight Night Champions type stuff.
Well, yeah, because the game is now completely different. Like, it's not you don't really see the representation of the sport as a whole. You see it more as like a striking game more than a boxing game.
Exactly.
Like there's less of the nuances of what makes boxing a sport, but you see, of course, what makes what makes it basically different from what the original vision was set out to be. Because now it's like it just seems like it's a striking game. Like you go online or you go offline and you play the game and stuff like that. Offline, it's better of a iteration of what they had set it out to be, but it's still not the same at the same time, because you don't see mannerisms of boxers and stuff like that. Like you don't see their actual styles like depicted within the game. Like you just see it's basically just an AI. There's no mannerisms. There's no real structure to the AI when it comes to boxing. Like you box more offline than you do online, but at the same time, it's still not a proper iteration of what boxing is.
Yeah. Fred G. Sanford 1 said, so are they done with Undisputed 1? I see, that's hard to say. I think we'll find out next week.
Yeah,
I think we'll find out next week.
But I'd say we find out too in the next 2 weeks, yeah.
Because this is a long space between updates and everything, and that makes no sense. It's a long stretch. I don't think I had know of a company that did a long stretch like that. I can't remember. And that's crazy. And everybody keep falling for their indie company. It's their first game. Nah, stop taking up for them, because like I said, It's Ash Habib's first game. It's not the developer's first game.
Well, some of the developers it is. Because some of those hires were basically we're friends, so I'm gonna sign you too. I'm gonna bring you along the ride.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but they got like my thing is if you got more veterans than like let's say they got about 5 people on the team that's probably just came out of school or something like that. They're the veterans over like they're controlling them. They controlling what's going on in the studio. So you control the ship, so you're responsible for the product that's put out. And my thing is, who idea was it to hire these guys that don't have that experience on a project like this? This was an over ambitious product, but you hiring under experienced people that don't have that experience to make the game that you want. And then they tempered they told Ash, and that's the funniest thing to me. They told Ash that his expectations was too high. It was too ambitious. Ash too nice. I would have been like, yeah, I am too ambitious. I was too ambitious to hire you. See ya.
yeah, but Ash is a friend. He's too friendly. But at the same time, that's why the blame is as much, when it comes to responsibility, like it's as much on him as it is the people that he had hired. Like, yeah, you have a person who is in a position to, hire certain people to better fit the vision of the game. But at the same time, like, you also have rule of thumb, you have authority when it comes to saying yes and no to certain people that that person you had put into that position to hire certain people. You have that right to tell them no, or you're not gonna allow them to come in and because you don't think that they actually properly would be able to do what you need for them to do. So I mean, like when it comes to all in all, like it's Ash, you can say it's Ash, it's Will Kinsler, it's Saf, it's a lot of the people that are, even if this is their first game, not Will Kinsler, but even if it's their first game, the way that they went about it when it comes to the original vision and then it ending up what it ended up being as of now, like you have to put a lot of blame on Ash too, because he was behind the scenes and he had seen a lot of what was going on at the end of the day, and he still was in that position to be able to say no, or be like, no, I'm gonna go in a different direction, and since we can't see eye to eye, I'm just gonna go with somebody else. And he never did that. He never put his foot down, even whenever it came to about a year ago, when everybody was saying like, oh, Ash is gonna put his foot down. Ash doesn't like what he's seeing. Ash came in and he's like, okay, we're gonna have to start doing things differently because I'm not liking what I'm seeing. I remember hearing that, but I never saw that come into fruition when it comes to how the game is and how it ended up being. Um, Even whenever the people were saying that Ash was putting his foot down. So for me, Ash is just as much to blame as really anybody.
Yeah, because I was like when they start giving me problems, I was like, man, I said, Ash got my back because me and Ash is talking. I thought Ash had my back. Nah, that joker. That Joe, he used to, like I be saying, that Joe used to email me. I know, yeah, email is old, but he emailed me or DM me, and we talk about certain things. And then when I was like, all right, Ash got my back, man. When Wilkins would pop up in there. It's like he took control of everything. It's like Ash just like his nuts shriveled up on him. I'm like, yo. I'm like, what the heck, man? Like, take control. Take control. I could tell that they was taking control of stuff because when they had that little meeting with me at the sidebar, they're like trying to tell me how Ash, hey, no, Ash ain't said. I know what Ash said. I talked to him. That ain't what Ash said. Yes, he did say that. So now my thing is, y'all keep saying that ain't what he said. So that means y'all going back and make sure, hey, Ash, you shouldn't let Poe in here. Because they, like I keep saying, they said that they weren't hiring people from the US. But they hired a lot of people from the US. Yeah, that's crazy. Give me a second. I forgot. I'm cooking. Give me a second.
Well, to answer the question of Freddie G real quick, I think that the life cycle of the game is over. There's no 100% because the devs themselves haven't actually said anything as a statement. So realistically, nobody really knows if the game's life cycle is over. But with the amount of time that has passed with the game and an update or even DLC being released, I'd say there's about a 90% chance that the game's life cycle is over. But of course, we won't really know everything until that interview that Sean Porter and Ash end up doing, which I'd say is going to happen within the next 2 weeks, because Sean Porter's supposed to be meeting up with Ash this week. So we'll know everything thoroughly within these next 2 weeks after that interview, which I don't know what they're going to really talk about. I don't know what they're going to discuss, but I would expect for them to be talking about something in relation to, oh, this is what's happening with the game, or this is why it took so long for an update, and we're either moving on to Undisputed 2 or we're releasing one more DLC and one more update and then moving on to Undisputed 2. But I expect them to just say the reason why it's taken so long for a DLC or any kind of update to happen is because we've been thoroughly working and looking for positions when it comes to hiring with Unreal Engine experience. So that's the reason why it's taken so long, is because now we're fully moving into the position of working on Undisputed 2.
Yeah. They got to make it got to be the announcer got to sound good. My thing with Sean Porter is he should be gathering questions right here to make it sound good. Hey, y'all got any questions y'all want me to ask them? Hey, just use that as a marketing tool. My thing is, since they marketing, do everything as possible that's going to get people on your side. That made people like, hey, they asking this question, so maybe things going to change. Even though a person like me know a lot of times we don't get what we ask for. Yeah, what you think?
I wonder when exactly like he's going. I wonder when exactly he's going, and if he, like you said before, is gathering questions. I don't think he's gonna do that. I feel like he's kind of. I feel like he feels like he has the certain obvious questions of what to ask, and that's what he's gonna do, and then he's gonna play the rest of it by ear, essentially. I don't think he's gonna have all the questions that really the community really wants, but I think that he has, in his belief, he has the questions that the community feels like they need to hear. So realistically, I don't think he's talking to all of the right people when it comes to what we need to hear. But at the same time, we really don't know, because Sean Porter hasn't been consistent when it comes to the game and talking to the dev team and talking to the community. He's been here and there doing like events for Undisputed, but not really to the point of where I feel like he's really in tune with what the community wants to hear and what they need.
Yeah, Sean Porter's not a gamer. It's like he don't really care too much for but he deals with it, but he don't like really care too much for it.
Yeah, I think Sean Zettel is probably a better person to really ask the questions, because he actually was more involved with the game as far as playing it. But Sean Porter, I feel like it's kind of just like I'm doing this for the community and stuff like that. I'm doing a nice thing, going out and seeing Ash, and I'll get some questions in, and then we'll talk about whatever we're gonna talk about after. And that's all it's gonna be. So I don't know, because even the last interview that Sean Porter did with the Ash, I felt like there was more questions than answers. So
yeah,
it just I don't have.
He brought something to our attention though that I was right about. He said he was looking weird, like somebody was like he was saying certain questions that Ash wanted to answer, but it's like he second guessed what he was gonna say. He said somebody was watching him and he changed up a little bit. I said, yo, I wonder if Sean gonna say, well, is it gonna just be me and you? Because he said that. I remember Sean said that. He said, yeah, when I do the next time I do an interview with Ash, it's gonna be just me and him. He was saying that a while ago after that. He said it's just gonna be me and Ash. I don't want no interruptions or anything. But they ain't gonna let Ash talk, because Ash talks. Like I said,
and because NDAs.
Yeah, because Ash would tell you everything, NDA or not. Because this thing is like, how you gonna get sued? I'm the owner. But you can get sued because you're the owner, because you have people that like companies that you dealing with, investors. That was holds you to a contract. Investors. That's another thing that probably got Ash. The investors and the publishers. We don't know how much stock the publisher actually have in the game. They said there's publishers that will take like a nice majority, just enough so they can control what's going on with the game. And hopefully Ash didn't do that.
Well, I think he did, and that's the reason why it was launched in October. Because I feel like if investors weren't, they didn't really have that much of a hand with the game, I feel like it wouldn't have launched in October when it did. Because I mean, if you take into account the amount of times that there's been delays and times where they were just like, oh well, we need more time, we need more time, we need more time. It was really only until the game had started receiving more traction and you started hearing more about investors looking into the company and boxers getting portions of the company, like Bud and Canelo and stuff like that. Like that's when you started seeing more traction of like there being a launch date of October. But at the same time, I feel like if it wasn't so based on investors having a time frame of when they wanted it specifically released, it probably wouldn't have been launched exactly in October. I'll give Ash that, maybe that little merit. I feel like he and a certain few people knew that it wasn't ready at launch, because whenever the game had happened at launch, it was full of issues and it was full of just, even whenever you had watched content creators promoting it, when they got it like a couple days earlier, like you had seen all like it had moments of good, and then it was like, oh, that looks bad. Like it's like I feel like investors had a pretty heavy hand when it came to the game launching when it did, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially to capitalize on holiday sales.
Yeah. because they kept saying, because fans kept asking for it, and the investors said, "Hey, push it out." Fans kept
Yeah,
saying, "We want the game, we want the game again." So that right there, because they watched that the early on, they watch. After that, they don't really watch. Soon as they get their money, that's when they like fall back some. They don't really watch what's going on. But in the beginning, they want to watch because they just gave you money. They want to see where their money's going at.
yep. They wanted to capitalize on the amount of hype that it was garnering around the time. And there, I mean, there was a lot, especially from, the console community. Like, there was a lot of people that were pushing it and, saying, "Oh, well, this is never gonna come out. I'm not gonna buy it because by the time it comes out, I'm gonna die." Like, you had a lot of those people that were just like, "I need it now. I need it today. And if I don't get it today, or if I don't get any kind of release date within the year, then I'm just gonna give up on the game." So, I mean, you had
Yeah,
a lot of
dramatic,
yeah, a
dramatic
lot of
people.
drama, exaggerated community with investors breathing down your neck. Of course, you're gonna have some kind of urgency.
Yeah, man. If they would have waited, man, I think we would have had a better game. Because they just stopped putting adding stuff. Like they say, oh, we're gonna work on the clinching and work on the what's called. They intentionally didn't want to put that back in. And this is something that was told to me by a EA developer that they intentionally. I say, I know they didn't. I say they weren't gonna put it back in. That was a design decision. That was a intentional design decision not to put the clinching in. He said they didn't want the clinching in the game because it slows down the action. But I said that's realistic. He said it's 100% realistic. And he said, yeah, but people, some people got that mindset that you don't want the action to slow down and they're gonna spam it or overuse it. But I said there's ways to counter people clenching you. And he said 100%. But whoever told them to not put it in there, they didn't put it in there. And then what else they didn't put in there? The referee in the ring. They left that out on purpose. It's more room to run around in. Everything seemed intentional. Because when you got a referee in the ring, it shortens the ring. There's more room. I mean, there's less room for the opponent to move around in the ring. He has to maneuver space and the referee. So the referee does play more of a part in boxing than people think. And what else? Clinching, referee is something else that I'm missing. But it's so many things that's missing that a lot of it intentional. And they keep saying, no, we couldn't do it or this and that. And they kept telling us they was gonna put it in later. I remember they was like literally saying, we're gonna put it in later, we're gonna work on it. We're still working on it. No, y'all what they weren't working on it. Once they stopped, talking about it, they weren't putting it in there. They said, hey, we could say that for the next game. Let's stop giving them everything in the first game. And somebody told Ash that too. You trying to give them everything in one game. You got to think about the future, man. You give us boxing and you just add more boxers to the next game. You don't, give us the bare minimum of boxing in the first game. You give us what is boxing. Don't try to correct it in the second game. You add on. Yeah, what you think?
I remember the time whenever they said that they weren't adding the referee in the ring because I think it was who was it, Saf, who had actually explained it.
Yeah, they said it before that, but Saf reiterated it.
Yeah. So I mean, like, of course, when it comes to the game as a whole, there's a lot of things that are missing. That makes boxing what it is. Uh, the referee and stuff like that, like the way that they had to explain it was is like desync issues, and amongst other issues when it comes to there's just game breaking and stuff like that, and then um like they basically explained it in a way where it was just like it's too much really for them to be able to handle. And I'm not going to say like stuff like that can't be implemented into the game. I just feel like when it comes to the people that were developing the game, it was too much for them specifically because they didn't know the way around it. And for them, because they didn't know the way around it, they explained it into a way where it was like, it breaks more of the game than it helps the game, because they didn't have it fully fleshed out, where there were certain times where you would clinch and stuff like that, and the game would disconnect or something like that when it comes to the online portion of it. But of course, they always still had that they should have at least given it back to the offline portion, just to be able to encapsulate the game as a whole. But the problem is of course, when you're dealing with people, and I don't even mean to be mean when I say this, but when you deal with incompetence, that you suffer because of it. So when you have people that are giving you this explanation of, we can't do this, we can't resolve this, and we have no resolution to be able to bring back the things that we had promised you, it's because you're dealing with incompetence and a level of errors where they can't execute on what they promised. So with this game, it was just a whole lot of errors, a lot of things that were taken out, and because of that, they just decided that it was just too much for them to be able to deal with when it comes to the already huge amount of issues that were in the game already. So for them, it just wasn't worth it for them to implement all these other things that they had promised originally, because they already had things that they couldn't fix already.
Yup.
So realistically, when it comes to the development team and the way that they had stated that we were going to give you the game that we promised we were going to deliver to you, we just need more time on it and stuff like that. After launch, they had said stuff like this. You knew already at that point that they were probably going to lie again. And of course, you catch them in the lie, you catch them in another lie, and this point, now you're just you're living in a well full of lies. So with the dev team, of course, they're gonna feel a certain type of way, because now they just feel like, well, you're never gonna be happy, because yeah, we didn't deliver and execute on everything that we promised, but at the same time, we're doing the best that we can. And that's where there's kind of a disconnect between the community and the development team, because yes, at the end of the day, the dev team, for some of them, it is their first game. For some of them, they don't have the most experience. But at the same time, you also have a person who hired these people with also understanding that they did not have that level of experience. So
Yeah.
because of that, you have a community that is led to suffer. And because of that, you have people who are a little bit overly understanding of the dev team. But you also have that portion of the community that's tired of the dev team because they're tired of the lies. And they feel like, I bought a dream before it could even walk. So my support has been ever flowing. And it's been for so long that I don't understand why you can't just give me what you promised. But then you, of course, have those people who are now tired of hearing those type of people. And now you have just a inner disconnect, a civil war between the community, where it's like, oh, these people are just, they always complain. They're never happy. They're never, nothing is ever good enough. And then you have those people who are just like, no, I was promised something. I bought into that dream. And because
Yeah.
I don't have it, of course I'm going to be mad. And
Yeah.
that's reasonable. You
It
have
is.
those people that are very reasonable with that take. But at the same time, like I said before, that's where the disconnect is, because yes, the dev team is human, But at the same time, the anger might not be as much on the dev team as much as it is the people that have hired the dev team, the people who have allowed certain people to be in positions that they were not, they could not fulfill. Yeah. So it's like it's just kind of it's a messy situation because you can also have an understanding of them being human, but also understand that you've also been ripped off. So you reasonably are mad. You reasonably are angry because of the way that they've handled things. And then on top of that, you have them having a choice of, oh, I'm gonna comment this to this person because they're praising the game or they're highlighting only good things about the game, but they're also not saying anything negative about the game. Oh, you want more DLC? Yeah, I wish this person was in the game. You see specifically the community, the not the community, the what is it? The social media person. You see that person specifically comment to certain people when it comes to praise, DLC, or anything that highlights good aspects of the game. But when it comes to honesty, negativity, and something that devs probably would not really like to hear, you will never see them respond to that. But praise them and give them all the praise in the world. And they'll like your comment, love your comment, comment to your comment, and that's it. They literally pick and choose who they respond to. And it doesn't even have to be a negative question. The person could just ask, when is the next update? When is the next DLC? No response. So you have this disconnect between the community and dev team, not really specifically just because of the community's reaction to the development team, but also because of the way the development team has handled their community. So it's not really just the community's fault. Like we can say the community over exaggerates certain things, but at the same time, the development team has a huge hand in the way that the community has reacted to them.
Yeah. This Fred G. Sanford once said, this game is really amazing and still has so many flaws. Imagine if everything was in order. This would be the greatest game created. I believe they actually going to get it right on Undisputed 2. I don't see the same thing. I don't know what you see. I really don't see what you see.
I knew you were going to say that.
I really don't see what he see. And I boxed for 12 years. I boxed for 12 years. I've been in the gaming industry for 4 decades. 4 decades. I've seen games that's better put together than this game is. We keep giving them excuses by saying, when you praise something, this is what I always learned. It's like, I took psychology classes. In psychology, when you praise something, why should it change? When you keep saying, hey, that's nice, that's okay, why should it change? If a child does something wrong and you say, oh, that's okay, you're building up a character because you keep saying that's okay. So you're building up for them to give us the same thing all over again with just tweaks to it. In this day and age, we should have a fully fleshed out game. But we're saying the game is good. And I don't see what people are saying. This game is a fighting game. It's not a boxing game. It's a glorified fighting game. Everything about it does not scream boxing. None of the style. It's like, what we got, 150. How many boxes we got? Because I ain't played the game in a while. We got over 200 characters, right?
Yeah, I think we have over 200 characters in whole.
Yeah, and I think probably like 10 of them fight like themselves.
Yeah, Yeah, maybe 10. Maybe 10.
Yeah, maybe about 10 fight like this. And all of the rest don't fight the same. And that's the problem in this day and age. Now, I know this gonna get people. They're gonna start bringing out the pitchforks and fire torches and everything. But with 2K, you got basketball players that's unique. And I know people gonna say, well, they've been building them systems all these years. No, y'all still don't get the point. Yeah, they were building them systems for all these years. It's like you make a mistake with something and you keep adding on. That's what that is. So 2K gets, but 2K even back in the early versions of it, like in the 2010 and stuff like that, the basketball players were playing like the basketball players. We were getting that back then. So my thing is, we were getting that back then. Why can't we get that now in sports games today? Victorious boxers. I know it was over the top, but they did a lot of things correct. And that's the thing that I'm talking about. Even Undisputed, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. It's a lot of things that Fight Night, and I hate saying this, Fight Night Champion did right, but they did a lot of things wrong. But with Undisputed, it's like they went left real fast. It's like we had a realistic boxing game, and then they said, nah, we can't do that. We can't do that. We got to change that up real quick. My thing is, we praising them. Stop praising them, because the thing is, if from my perspective of how fans, when you constantly tell them what's wrong, and people constantly say it, this is a good example. Go into the go on what's that? Operation Sports. Go into the 2K's forums. Operation Sports. They got they got 2K developers in that forum listening to the people. Even though 2K got their own forums, they are in Operation Sports forums listening to what the people are saying. And you got a lot of people agreeing. So they do a lot of things. It's just one thing you could say, their thing is you can complain all you want, but they're not taking out that microtransaction. The microtransaction is not going nowhere until people stop buying it. They're acting like they're forced to buy it. People be like, well, we can't, the basketball player is not going to get better if I don't buy it. Don't buy it. You're going to force their hand. If you don't buy into it, they say, all right, well, they're not, well, we still got to give it to them. They're going to give it to you. What's up, Tevin Williams? Salute. Also, we have less than 200 boxes in the game. We only have 114 if you buy all the DLC. I thought we had over 200.
I was talking about with all the entities that were also signed, like, the referees and everything like that.
Okay. Also, we have less than two. I thought we had double what Fight Night had.
Well, what was supposed to happen that ended up happening was they had signed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Which if you include the referees and all of the the coaches and everything like that,
yeah,
you would most likely reach 200. But the problem is because they the contractual issues that they ended up having, they didn't even put all the people that they had set out to be put in the game. So when it comes to the game right now, we don't have all the characters that they had laid out to be put into Undisputed 1. So yeah, we don't have 200 as a whole. But when you look at the list and every name, every entity, and like even Carmel Moton, even the unnamed signees and stuff like that, there's supposed to be 200 people at least at whole as a whole.
No, it's if we're going by the list that I know that they had, it's over 300 people. But the thing is that boxers started getting frustrated that they didn't, because you signed us early, because they was like, you signed us early in the development and we're not in the game. What's going on? So they renegotiate the contracts. Then they got all these extra people that they're not talking about, which I know a lot of them signed.
And a lot of those contracts that they had renegotiated, they're probably now not even gonna fulfill that obligation and just put them in number undisputed 2 at
Yeah,
this point, because
that's what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do.
unless, and this is just a theory, because I don't have a dog in this race, but what they could end up doing is, I had heard from some people in the Discord, and of course they're not the most believable people, especially the people that were putting this out there. They said that there was going to be a big DLC supposedly this summer. And if that is true, they could end up putting some of those people that they ended up not putting in the game so far, that were originally supposed to be and slated to be in the game. They could end up putting them in the game this summer as one literally last DLC, which is going to be full of boxers. So, I mean, they could end up doing that. And that is what this whole interview with Sean Porter and Ash is about. It being basically their final send off when it comes to Undisputed 1 before they finally fully turn over to Undisputed 2. But I just don't see that happening. And it being this long to take to do that, I don't understand the method behind that.
Yeah, that's crazy. But they got us excited about the how many people that they signed, and especially me, because I knew they signed over 300 people. They like 2 years ago they was creeping in the 200s. 2 years ago they was creeping into the 200.
And then you're also not even adding into the fact of all the unnamed signees that they've had. Like Carmel Moton, like I'd asked him if he was going to be in the game. I haven't heard from him or anything like that. I thought Stephen Fulton was going to end up being in the game at some point.
He was supposed to be in the game
because he was. So I had seen his name, and I remember during the ESBC era, his name was on there. But for some reasoning, instead of USA, they had him under UK for some reasoning. But I remember during the ESBC era, they had Stephen Fulton, but I never saw anything about him again when it came to if he was going to be in the game. But I remember Stephen Fulton being one of the signees. I remember the Carmel Moton being one of the signees. Raymond Ford, who has a fight coming up against O'Shaquie Foster, like he was going to be in the game. And then of course you have those names that are in the files and stuff like that. O'Shaquie Foster was one of the names in the files too. So you have all these names that they have, but of course we haven't seen every single person that they have, and we also don't know from them specifically all who they have signed. We just know it's a lot bigger of a list than what they have right now that's put out.
Yeah, let me see. Besides, you said some people shouldn't speak on how the game is, especially since how low the standards are with some people. Good segue into the next post. No disrespect to you, but I gotta go in on this because this is what this conversation always comes up. This Fred G. Sanford say 2K's budget compared to Undisputed budget is not even close. So comparing what they're doing is hard to to contrast. Listen to what you're saying. 2K has over 200 games. They have 200 games. They're a $1 billion company. 200 games that they're focused on. And I think I'm being a little over the top, but they have a lot of games that they budget their money. Each game has a budget. I know about the game industry very well. I was behind that curtain. I know it's hard for y'all to believe, but I was behind that curtain. But each game has a budget. Like with Fight Night Champion. That wasn't a complete game, but y'all wouldn't know it. The game was not complete. They spent all the money on the story mode. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That's your opinion, but I'm going by facts. I'm going by facts. I'm not expressing what I think is what I know as someone that literally talked to EA developers, talked to 2K developers when I get a chance. You know, it's just, you know, when people say stuff, I'll be like, Dad, I said, they really think that. Each company has a budget. On what's called Undisputed has one game. They have a publisher. We trying to minimize what Undisputed is. Undisputed has to take more responsibility for what it proclaimed to be. You proclaim to be an indie company, but you're not an indie company. Because if you add it up, they have a high-profile publisher. PlayOn is a high-profile publisher. Then they have three investors. They have shareholders. That's not indie company stuff. That's not indie company stuff. They got multi-million-dollar investors. They have, for promoting the game, they have Turkey Alex Sheep. And that's sad that they got Turkey Alex Sheep just promoting the game. He wanted to be an investor, but they downgraded him to just being a promoter. I mean, to help market and promote the game. That's crazy. That's stupid to me. That's stupid. That's when we could say Ash is to blame for what's going on with this company. That's when we could really say that. Because Turkey literally said out his mouth. I remember that interview like it was yesterday. This is going to be the best video game ever. I'm going to make sure that's what he thought until Ash pushed him out. Yeah, man.
When it comes to a boxer, what do you think is the most amount that they paid?
That they paid him?
Mm-hmm.
I think with not Sean Porter. Well, yeah, let me use Sean Porter. They probably give him $250,000.
250,000.
Oh yeah, probably something like that. You know, nothing too over the top because they gotta. My thing, I'm going by my experiences as a person that got boxers, and my thing, and y'all don't realize when it comes to boxers, like when they say when Steve Kim be saying it's hard to get boxers, it wasn't hard for me, I guess, because a boxer talks to other boxers differently. When I was talking to people, they was like, hey, I'll do it. It was people literally saying that I would do it for nothing. And that's the funniest thing. Like, what's his name? Zerafa? What's his name? Zerafa. We had him in round for round. He just wanted to be in the game. He said it's good promotion for his career. And I said, wow. I said, you look at it the way I look at it. And he said, yeah. He said, I just be in. They did motion, what they did motion capture for him and everything. He was the only boxer we literally had motion capture. And that was, that's why I be telling people when they be, questioning what I be saying. I said I was behind the curtain. We did motion capture for him, but we had Zab Judah. We had all these different guys. Zab Judah was supposed to be one of the persons that was supposed to get motion capture next. And then
Zab Judah said that he was he's supposedly supposed to be in this game.
Yeah,
he said he was talking to one of the devs, and supposedly the way he had framed it was and it's happening to some of the boxers. Like there's like some kind of hold up log jam for some reason, and he had said that once.
What happened? You went silent.
Hear me?
Did you get kicked?
No, I'm still here. My bad.
Oh, okay.
But he had basically said like there was some kind of log jam with him and a few other boxers, and basically once that gets cleared up and everything like that, like everything is good to go. But I don't know what it is exactly what it is that's holding everything up. I'm guessing it's probably something contractual.
Yeah, I think so too. Never know what's going. But the way Steve Kell be saying stuff, I'm still like, what are you doing? That you keep saying it's so hard. Like I'm like, we had like over 100 boxes for round. We had what's his name? We had a couple of good guys. We had Joe McClellan. We had all these guys. We had a lot of old school boxers. Oh yeah, this is something I gotta bring up. I'm gonna bring it up every time I think about it. EA, I hope don't get like the old school boxers like Jack Johnson and Rocky Marciano and all them, because they signed them from it's this company that owns the rights to their image. And I was doing my research. I was just looking up boxers because I was like, let me look up some boxers that I could tell that a company is making a boxing game. So I said, it's this company where you could get, I was letting them know where they could get all these boxers. They're under one, like, basically, like, it's like having a contract, like, how the NBA got. You got all these boxers, you could sign them. So that's with them. And I did the same thing with Ash, but they're not going to give me that credit. It's like 3 or 4 things that I help Ash with, but they don't never give me credit for. And that's the thing that I don't get mad about it, but I'm like, yo, say something. He ain't even keep up with the I'ma scan you in the game, Poe. And my thing is, you scanned a lot of people and they're not in and none of them in the game. They scanned hip hop gamer, they scanned a couple of the content creators that I heard, and they're not in the game yet. So I don't know what's that scanning thing about.
At the rate that they're going, they're probably going to do all that for Undisputed 2 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to see what's the vision now. Now it's like making me more anxious about what's going on with Sean Porter when he goes there. What is the conversations going to be like? What are we going to hear? Stuff like that.
I wonder if they're gonna try to put him under some kind of NDA like they did with the content creators whenever they came out for that event.
Oh yeah, they definitely gonna do that. That's like industry stuff they're gonna do anyway.
Well, if that's the case, then there's no real conversation. It's kind of just structured.
Yeah, everything is gonna be kind of structured.
And I think it would be more authentic if it was just kind of like a free-based flow of conversation.
Yeah, that's what I used to like. That's why, like when they was talking about that, it was hard to when they said, hey, we can't have a live question thing because it's hard to structure. No, it's not. They just knew they couldn't answer them questions. They know we was gonna bind them up, and they was gonna say something they wasn't supposed to say. That's the only thing about having them live discussions like that. They end up saying something they wasn't supposed to say. I did that to EA quite a few times. And the guy, because I told y'all, I asked Brizzle would he be on the show, and he said he has to respectfully decline. He said, "Poe, I gotta respectfully decline," because he knows I was gonna ask him about EA, even though he's not there no more. Technically he is. I don't know why they keep saying that they went on to another company. You went on to another division of EA. You still work for EA. But he's saying he worked for another company and he don't want to mess up his, just in case something happened, the way the industry is going. And I was like, Dad, man. And that's why it's hard for me to get interviews. Let me see. What's Floyd's price? Floyd, I think they were going to give Floyd back then, what was it? Was it 40,000? Was it 40,000? 20 or 40,000? And I think they were giving Manny Pacquiao 60,000. That's what got Floyd mad. Floyd was the champ. He was I think he was undisputed or something. It was something that Floyd was at that time. And he was like, why are y'all praising him more than y'all praising me and y'all giving him more? And that was the problem. I think who else they gave? They gave was it Mike Tyson? Yeah, they gave, because that was the game. Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson, they gave Mike Tyson, I think 50 or 60,000 too. And that was like, Floyd was like, why I'm not getting that same amount of money as these guys that's like popular and I'm the champ? And Floyd felt some type of way. That's why he boosted his money up. It was personal. It wasn't like when people say it's not personal. It was personal. He said it. He said it, and he did a video. And I don't know where that video is. I forget the title of the video and whatever. But Floyd, he did a video. It was a live video he did. And he said, yeah, EA tried to shortchange me and disrespect me. So I'm going to outprice myself. And they got to meet that. And EA was like, nah, we can't do it. Yeah, that was
well, Floyd's got a big ego, so that's to be expected.
Now, yeah, everything started building up. It's like, I guess it started building up after that. Because back then, he felt like, and to me, he had a right. I would have felt the same way. Hold up. I'm the champion, and, he's not really doing what I'm doing, and you're paying no more than me. And the fans like begging for me to be in the game. I'd have felt some type of way too. And they just like, and they know they messed up. They wanted us to literally seeking y'all as the fans, seeking y'all talk to Floyd. We emailing Floyd and stuff, and he ignoring us. That junk was crazy.
Go ahead. I messaged both the Charlo brothers, and I never get a response.
Oh yeah,
I've messaged the Charlo bros. I've messaged Abdullah Mason. I've tweeted at who did I tweet at? Stephen Fulton. I tweeted at who else? Carmel. And I never get a response from any of them. When it comes to like asking a boxer, like it literally has to be kind of like a in an interview for you to really get anything out of them, because
Yeah,
the chance that they actually see or read and respond to a message from like a fan and saying or confirming if they are in a game is like it's very very minimal that you get a response.
yeah, yeah. You got to do when they doing the Q&A or they answering questions. That's when you get them real quick.
Yeah, when Najee a Cigar Talk was interviewing the monster David Benavidez, I had messaged I had messaged Najee right on the spot and even commented whenever he had this like little post up and he was asking like what kind of questions he should ask David. And I was like, ask him if he's gonna be in the game. I asked him that like 3 times and then he finally asked the question for David to confirm it. Like you got to be really, really resilient if you're gonna
Yeah,
get a response.
yup, yup. I know that for a fact.
But hopefully,
I said Floyd Price. Let me see.
yeah, he did say Floyd's price.
I told you Floyd boosted his price because they were giving Manny, I think 60,000. Was it 60,000? Yeah, I think it was 60,000. And I think Floyd wanted more because they disrespected Floyd by underselling him.
Back then,
Undervaluing him.
back then, if Manny was 60,000, he probably would have wanted 160,000 at that point. And now, with his overinflated ego, he's gonna be like, "No, you can just give me $1 million, and we'll sign on the dotted line."
Yeah.
He's not gonna talk. To me, in my opinion, and I don't know if this is true because obviously I don't know Floyd from a personal perspective. I feel like when it comes to Undisputed, and if they even did end up signing him, because obviously he had did that viral video of him saying like, we're talking, just be patient. Like I feel like if it's anything of the 100,000 stuff like that, Floyd's not talking. Like I think he's gonna want a lot more money than people think. And that's what happens with a lot of these boxers is like it's not even just overinflated ego, it's just you know, they're their own entities. So any kind of money and leverage that they can get out of you, they're gonna try to milk it as much as they can so that they can get the most that they can possible. So for Floyd, to me, the way that he strikes me when it comes to like on the business aspect of things, I feel like he's gonna try to get the most money possible. Oh, you're a new company, you're coming into the game late and stuff like that, and you trying to sign me? Oh, you not we gotta talk numbers, like up numbers. What's the most that you signed a different boxer for? Okay, well you're gonna have to double triple that when it comes to signing me. Like I feel like that's how Floyd would look at it when it comes to like Ash Habib and stuff like that coming at him and being like, "We want you in our game," and then Floyd's gonna be like, "Okay, well, how much? What are you willing to do for it?" I
Yeah.
feel like Floyd would be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think the return on Floyd, like if they sign Floyd, I think they're gonna sell more copies because a lot of people gonna support it, but they want Floyd. So I think they're gonna get their money back.
They want Floyd and they want Tank. I think.
Yeah,
I'm pretty positive they want Tank
yeah,
because and with Tank's interview about him saying that they never even brought it up to him about trying to be in the boxing game, he probably was like they were probably like, okay, well, if he's open to it, and like they probably originally felt like he wasn't interested, or Tank probably thought it was a different boxing game.
that's what he thought. He thought it was ESBC. He didn't know they were two different games.
Yeah, so with that thought, they probably tried to do something with him, and they're probably going to try to get him an undisputed too. Like I have
Yeah,
no doubt in my mind, every boxer that they either delayed talking to or had some kind of conversation with and it didn't work out, I have no doubt in my mind that they're gonna try to see if they can get them for Undisputed 2, because now they have somewhat of a name in the boxing community with them hosting award shows and them basically being like a kind of like a little spotlight within the community when it comes to, oh, now we have a representation of boxing, we have a boxing game type of thing. Like now they're going to definitely try to put themselves out there and establish themselves more as the face of the gaming boxing community. So they're going to try to get names like Tank. They're going to try to reach out to, Big Fish. They're going to try to get like all these boxers and stuff like that as much as they can. I don't care if they never talk to, Spencer. I don't care if they never talk to even Bud as just as a point. Like anybody that they did not even try to talk to because they thought that they were too little to talk to that boxer, they're definitely going to try to talk to them for the next boxing game, because I feel like they feel like they have more confidence when it comes to signing boxers. But then again, when you go back to Kim, when he was talking about signing boxers, the reason why it's so difficult is because you have to talk to a guy that knows a guy that finally gets you to the boxer who knows the guy. So it's like you've got all these people within their boxing gyms and stuff like that, and you have to get through all these people just to finally be able to establish some kind of response or connection with that boxer. So it becomes harder because you're not always speaking directly to the representative of that boxer. So then it's like, oh, okay, well, if I'm talking to the friend of the representative of that boxer, how can I get into a conversation with the representative? And then that representative hoists up a number that maybe that boxer isn't completely in tune with because he doesn't really care about games like that. So he's kind of just like, I mean, sure, I guess, like type of thing. So like, I don't know, like it's so hard because boxers are single entities. It's so hard to really get them on the roll because you have to go through so many people when it comes to like you not being a boxer or you being outside of the boxing community, as far as within the realm of what boxing is, in the connections and the communities and stuff like that. It's so hard to really be able to get in contact and reach a boxer because you have to go through so many people.
I think that's the misconception with what Steve Kim is saying. Because my thing is on social media, you can catch a lot of these boxers. That's how I was catching them. Or I was emailing a lot of them. Or hitting them in DMs. Like Stephen Fulton, he's one of the people that I had. Who else I had? Tommy the Duke Morrison, I had him. I had a lot of people. I had a long list. I had Ray Mercer, that's my guy. Shannon Briggs, I was trying to get him in the game. It's so many. I got Shannon Briggs in Undisputed, but they're not gonna say it. They're not gonna say it.
So do you think that when it comes to people like Steve Kim, when you think about people like Steve Kim, who are their role is basically sign all the boxers that you can get, try to get them in a room so that you can be able to try to structure a contract and stuff like that. Do you think that it's the fact of he's not resilient in his effort to get with certain boxers in the game?
Yep. Because Todd Grisham was doing a good job. Todd didn't really say it was hard. You just said Steve Kim saying it.
But Todd is also closer. Todd is also closer within the community.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Steve Kim act like he's part of the community. Steve Kim is a commentator for boxing, so he act like he's in the community. But to me, Steve Kim is new to the community.
Yeah,
like especially when it's come to gaming. Boxing, not so much. I know Steve Kim for a long time. Knew of him, actually known him, but I knew of him for a long time. But the stuff that he's saying, me and Todd did not have the same problem. Actually, me and Todd sometimes were interchanging with boxers. I say, Todd, I got a couple of boxes for you that you can sign. I said, we had them for round, but you should take them too. There's a lot of people. I said Mildred Teller over there. They had Mildred Teller. They had who else that I got? What's his name? The Joker. He's real quick. He's a heavyweight. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. But you got people like Eddie Chambers. You got I keep forgetting why I keep forgetting his name, and I can see his face. So, but it's a lot of high profile boxers. A lot of, and my thing is, why don't they have more old school boxers too? It's a boxing game. You want to catch the boxing fan. Like, we don't have guys like what's his name? I guess I'm tired because I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm drawing a blank because I'm like, Dad, going, I know all these people, but right now I'm like, what's their name? Yeah, but we had the guy that was gone, who beat him up. Trinidad.
Felix Trinidad.
Yeah, we had him. We had what was it? Then we talked to Oscar De La Hoya. We talked to all these guys. I'm like, why are you not pushing up on these guys? And my thing is, why did Eddie Hearns them stop talking about boxing video games? Did you hear that they was talking about boxing video games in the what's called them? In the Ali Act, they was saying it helps with boxers being in video games and stuff like that. He said something like that.
I had seen that because somebody had also posted the social media person for Undisputed. I think it's Sibby. He had commented something about like, oh, there's no boxing games or something like that, and then he had basically commented like, we have all the boxers and stuff like that. We have old school boxers, we have new school boxers and stuff like that. He had commented under some kind of picture and stuff like that on Twitter.
Yeah.
I had seen, and somebody had posted that in the Discord.
Yeah, I said something under there. I forgot what I said, but I was saying something on there. I was like, man, this Joker, they got the nerve to say something. They doing too much promoting stuff. Stop promoting yourself when you're not living up to the hype.
Yeah, because after he commented that, there was literally a whole list of like negative comments to what the game. There wasn't one single positive comment. There was questions about when is the update. I can't believe you would comment that under this, and the game is this bad, and it's not a proper representation of what boxing is. Like, you had so many comments that were just downing the comment that Sibby had posted.
And I'm sure by now it probably is much more than that now.
Probably, because at the time I'd seen it was 0.2.
I said, daggone. You have females and everything. I said, what females? I said, what the heck?
She went off too.
Yeah.
She went off. That was my favorite comment out of all the comments I'd seen on that. She had gone off. That was so funny.
Dad, what did she say? Let me see. Let me see. Here it go. That jump was funny. They go to post. No, that's not it. This the original post. This not where it came in at. Let me see. No, that's not the original post. It was so funny. Let me see.
It's in Jay's channel too.
Or is it Jay's channel? Like if you click on it, you could go right to the post, or it's just a screenshot.
I'd screenshotted it.
Oh. I was trying to see because that jump was so fun. I was like, I said, I'm gonna talk about that in the show. And then I let it. Oh, yeah, there you go. You see, because I know they're gonna block, man. Is it that? Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm trying to find her post.
If you look on Jay's channel, it's up there. But the reason why
they got hers?
Huh? Yeah, her specific comment. I think I remember I posted that screenshot in there because it was after what Sippy had commented under that post, and then I had posted the responses, and then her post is one of the responses on it. But it's under all the chat GPT of Undisputed crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going off on them. Annie. No, that's not it.
Was it? It was she was a blonde woman.
Yeah, that's not. It's a Annie. Yeah, just look at how UFC fighters have sponsorships. No, that's not what we're looking at.
No, it was a different comment then.
No, it was like yo.
Because she was talking about how trash it was.
Yeah. Let me see it go on the Discord. Because I was on Twitter. Let me see if I can find it on the Discord. Give me a second. I don't. But one thing is it's like they be burying us. He shouldn't have even not said anything. Just be quiet. At this point, what'd you say?
Because everybody in the Discord was literally saying like they have no shame. They have no shame for commenting that. Because I mean, like you got to think about it. Like, let's say like you're representing you make a game that represents a sport like basketball, but it literally doesn't have all the intricacies and the nuances of what makes that sport a sport. It doesn't properly replicate the craft of the sport. So then you're missing all these dynamics, and then you have all these people where you're supposed to deliver an expectation of what the game is supposed to be, but you're missing a basketball. There's desync. You're missing the referees. Half the crowd is basically it's got to be taken out the game, because if you have the crowd in the arena, all of a sudden the game crashes. So you have all these things where it's like, even if you try to highlight the good aspects of the aesthetics when it comes to the game, you're missing it. It's like, well, is it really a basketball game? Is it really like proper? Because I mean, you're missing a basketball, you're missing the referees, you're missing half the arena that gives you the energy of what a basketball game feels. You're missing the engagement factors. So it's like, of course, whenever you go into a thread that is supposed to be something serious of the sport, and you're like, oh, well, I'm a basketball game. I have certain issues within my basketball game, but I have a basketball game with all these players in it. But then you have this flood of comments saying basically, well, it's not really basketball because you're missing a basketball, like the most fundamental part. And some of the most fundamental parts of boxing, you're missing an Undisputed. So it's like it's the same thing. If you're not delivering on your end when it comes to properly representing and replicating what a sport is, if you're not doing that end of it, of course you're going to have a lot of people who are going to try to steer every kind of negative comment and negative thing and biased thing to say about what that game is, um in the worst light. It doesn't matter where it's at. It could be on Discord, it could be on Twitter, it could be on Instagram. You have, the dev team saying that the Discord is a small portion within the community. Well, okay, let's say that it's a small portion of the community. The problem is the small portion of that community that's speaking the truth. That truth is also being spoken throughout the community. So
Yeah.
it's not just the Discord that's saying these things.
Reddit,
Huh?
you got Reddit, everybody the same thing echoing all across the internet.
Exactly. So you have a ridicule from a small portion that you hear it most highlighted within that portion. But at the same time, if that same sentiment is spoken throughout the community, then it's not the community's fault. It's your problem. And that's the reasoning as to why we're in where we're at. Because instead of being honest and factual about what you didn't do, you try to highlight the decent tendencies and decent highlights of the game, and that sentiment is not felt throughout the community. So of course you can try to minuscule the Discord to a small minority, but the problem is that small minority that's speaking the truth, it's felt throughout everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, it doesn't matter. It's felt throughout.
Yup, 100%. Her name Madison. The person name is Madison. Your game is effing atrocious. I think Mike Tyson's Punch Out is more of a boxing game than whatever slop you guys made everyone waste $80 on. Yeah. Yo, that joke crazy.
That's really crazy because you got this woman who she probably I don't know her, so she probably might not be even the biggest boxing fan. But the fact is, you have made this game basically such a negative experience for her as a somewhat casual boxing fan or a full envisionist of a boxing fan. Like you have made her experience so bad that she had to, point out a boxing game that came out a while ago just to basically be a point of reference of saying this game is better than what you bring in the present. Like I'd rather play that slop of a game than what you have now. Like it doesn't make a difference. Like you can highlight all the positive and stuff like that. But if you have literally people coming out of the woodworks saying the same thing, it's like at some point you got to be like, okay, no, we have a big problem on our hands. Like I get the people that want to say the good things about the boxing game, undisputed. I get the people who want to highlight the positives and stuff like that. And it's cool if you like the game, you like the game. If you feel the way that you feel about the game when it comes to it's the best iteration of what boxing is and stuff like that when it comes to a game, that's how you feel. But also, if people are to be understanding of how you feel in a positive light about that game, then be understanding about the people who have negative output when it comes to that game. Because just because your two experiences are different and y'all have two different perspectives, it doesn't make one less than the other. So y'all, if y'all want people to stop being such a choir and such a boisterous voice when it comes to the negative aspects of what Undisputed was for them, then you also have to be understanding of their perspective of how the game is for them.
AJ Pack sent me a post with Crooks. He said, man, this guy. He said, I didn't click on it because that joke always get us. Always get us.
Mm.
Because you be getting excited. You be like, yeah. Then it be clickbait.
Hey, Crooks is my boy. I'm a never
Yeah,
really
I like
say.
him. I actually do like him. But sometimes I be feeling like that, man. You over making, over making things more than what they are. Or he likes a lot of he like the characters. He love getting the DLC and stuff like that. But I'm
I
like,
mean,
you're not because you gotta to me you got a platform to make the boxers look. I mean, they're have the tendencies of the real boxers. You're just getting a boxer with a name. That's it.
I
That's
feel
it.
like I feel like Crooks is one of those people where it's like I don't feel like he's fully properly represented because Crooks to me, he's one of those people where it's like he's kind of like the mixture of both. Like he understands the negative aspects of the game and he'll talk about what's negative about the game and from an honest perspective. But he's also going to try his best when it comes to highlighting anything good or what is true news when it comes to the game. And I feel like because of the game state, you don't have a lot when it comes to giving you both sides of the same coin. And I feel like Crooks, even though some people feel like, he could be clickbaity and stuff like that, or his certain titles and stuff like that may give you some kind of feeling of dismay and stuff like that. I feel like Crooks is probably one of the most genuine people in the community because you know when a person is trying and it's not fully because of views and clicks and stuff like that. He's trying out of the goodness of his heart. And I feel like Crooks is one of those people who's really genuine because even though, and get this, he started off with UFC, right?
Yeah.
Even though he's just coming really into the boxing field and stuff like that, you see that kind of effort because he's giving you live play-by-play analysis of boxing events and stuff like that. Like he's fully investing himself into the sport. Like he's not one of those people where it's like, oh, I'm gonna give you highlights and news and stuff like that of a boxing game. No, he's giving you everything when it comes to boxing that he can. Like when it's something's coming out about Boots or Zayas or any other boxer and stuff like that, he gives you news on those boxers. And when it comes to the game, he does the same thing. And it might not always look like the best, especially with where the game is at, but at least he's trying and he's giving you a tidbit of what he heard, what he analyzed, what he saw, or what he's seen, and now he's just bringing it to the forefront. And that's why I don't really see the stuff that he puts out there as clickbait because everybody should know there's no boxers right now that have come. There's no DLC or anything like that. And he's not saying, oh, DLC this, DLC that. Like he's saying, like, a new boxer is coming, but it's clearly a mod that's from ESBC Revival. So I get people's perspective, but we also have to understand Crooks isn't the bad guy in this. The development team is. Crooks is just trying to do the best he can when it comes to giving people hope, but also understanding the fact that the dev team has, fully messed up everything when it comes to this game. So everything naturally looks negative.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Let me see. I think I'm about to log off, man. We did 2 hours, did
Yep.
we?
Yep. 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah, that's good. I think I did a little. Let me see. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Andy Ruiz. Yeah, we had Andy Ruiz too. Andy Ruiz. We had I know I'm gonna be mad once I get off the show and I remember the fighter. What's his name? He fought. Let me see who he fought. He threw a lot of quick punches, and dang, what's his name? I see that's gonna make me mad because he fought. I think his last pro fight was against Vladimir Klitschko, and dang, this joker had real fast hands. And it's gonna bump because to me he should have never been a heavyweight. He should have been a cruiserweight. Could have probably fought middleweight, but he was real quick. Oh, Chris Bird supposed to be in the game. I've talked to Chris Bird. I talked to him a couple of times. I talked to him when I was starting to round around. Then I talked to him a lot for Undisputed. You know, he said, yeah, he told me he's going to be an Undisputed. He said, yeah, they got me in there. He said, I'm going to be an Undisputed. So he's supposed to be in the game. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I remember David Tua wanted to be in the game. That would have been
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, David Tua. Yeah, and him like getting in shape and everything like that just to be able to do everything when it comes to his motion capture. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. So I'm like, Dad, man, it's like they missing out on all these opportunities. My thing is, do you think they're buying the whole buildings? They got 3 facilities, like 3 buildings. I think they just renting out office space.
No, I think they bought it. I think they bought it out. I think that they've come to enough money where they can start being on that level of buying out like certain buildings and stuff like that. I'm not gonna say that, like, you know, they're on EA's level of basically building your own community, but like, or buying your own community, but like I think that they've reached that point where they can start properly buying studios and buildings and stuff like that and warehouses. Because I mean, like I said, like we've talked about before, they're hosting events and everything like that. Like they're doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Sure, I went to EA, boy. That was like going to the Playboy Mansion or something. It was everything. I was like, Dad, I said, y'all got tennis courts. They had handball courts. They had everything there. They had 3 cafeterias in the studio. I said, what you need 3 cafeterias in the studio? Y'all that lazy? Y'all don't want to walk? They just had everything in there. They got shops in there. They got stores, everything. I'm like, yo, this some crazy stuff. A studio with their own stores. I'm like, yo, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's prime time right there.
Yeah. That was like they was trying to give us, we was trying to buy stuff. I mean, I'm like, yo, y'all brought us up here and y'all letting us get half price off on stuff. And see, if I wouldn't have never said nothing, they would have got them jokers. I was like, y'all invited us up here. Why y'all charging us half price for something? Yeah, because y'all our guests and stuff. That's not how you treat guests. You supposed to give us stuff. Yeah, we're going to give you stuff, but this is in the store. Man, we got some free stuff out that store. Like, you know, games and stuff. Now they just give you codes. It's easier for them. We ain't got to get them no physical copies. Just give them a code. All right, Aaron, you want to say something before I end the show?
No, I think I've said just about everything that needed to be said at this point.
Okay. All right, y'all. We had Aaron in here with me as my co-host. I appreciate you, man. You helped me stretch the show out.
Of course, anytime.
Yeah, man, appreciate you. Anytime you could come on, anytime you want to. Until the next day, I'm gonna say peace and thank you, Aram, again.
Peace. And thank you, OG.